In the lead up to the federal election on Saturday the 3rd of May 2025, I looked for political candidates at our local railway stations. I met Liz Tilley, who is a member of the Greens Party and their official candidate for the seat of Parramatta to the federal government of Australia. When asked about gender equality, Liz Tilley took the opportunity to patronise us about patriarchy, even claiming crash test dummies were part of the problem. The crash test dummies that they use in car crash testing are male form. I'd just like to ask you some questions just for a social media post. It's about gender equality, so yes. Do you believe in gender equality?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And how would you define gender equality? Would it be, for instance, women's right to expose disadvantage and discrimination against men and pursue equality? Would that be a rough definition?
I think it really comes down to making sure that everyone has equal opportunity and everyone has safety. So we know that there's discrimination against women that's built into the system.
Right.
Built into the patriarchal system that we live in.
Right, okay.
So things like women's work being undervalued.
Yes.
There's been a report that was released today that's talking about how things like childcare workers are paid way less because it is a feminised industry.
Right.
Nurses and midwives, feminised industries, paid much less than male equivalent industries.
Right, I see.
So there's a lot of issues that are systemic to our society.
Yeah.
And those are then kind of reflected back by some of these right-wing ideologies that are telling young boys that women are out to get them.
Right.
But women are not out to get them.
I see.
We just want to be on equal footing for everyone.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
Whether you're male or female, whether you're cis or trans.
Yeah.
You should have the right to have a safe and happy life.
All right, terrific. Did you happen to know, for instance, that when the Sex Discrimination Act was introduced in 1984, it was sexist, so it promoted the belief that gender equality should apply to women and not to men. So do you believe gender equality should apply to men?
I think it should be for everyone, but I think at the moment the system is still set up so that men are advantaged over women.
All right. How would you describe the appointment of a Minister for Women by the federal government and each and every state, territory and government, but there's no appointment of a Minister for Men? How would you describe that in terms of sex discrimination?
Well,
or systemic sex discrimination?
I would say that women have specific issues that need to be looked at. Men's issues are looked at by everyone. The default is men. We know in the medical industry, for example, a lot of medicines are only ever tested on men and not women, even for things like breast cancer medication. We know that things like seatbelts are not tested on women. The crash test dummies that they use in car crash testing are male form and 75% size male form. So women have a huge number of risk factors that we really need to look at.
All right. How about life expectancy, for instance, the difference in life expectancy between men and women? Would you support affirmative action for men's health to make the legal life expectancy the same?
I think men's life expectancy is lower for a number of reasons. A lot of those are things that are lifestyle reasons. Men are more affected by things like high blood pressure and high cholesterol.
So would you support more affirmative action for men's health compared to women?
I wouldn't call it affirmative action. I'd say we should look at everyone's health across the board.
So you don't believe in affirmative action? You don't think affirmative action should be applied to men or women?
Affirmative action is a loaded term, and it wouldn't be how I would describe my policies.
Would you support affirmative action, yes or no?
Affirmative action?
Yeah, affirmative action for women in education, careers, whatever, and affirmative action for men in life expectancy and health.
I would support having equitable access and equitable support for everyone across the board.
Okay.
Whether they're men or women, cis or trans.
Okay. What about...
Can I ask where you're from?
Where I'm from Parramatta.
No, I'm just asking, this seems like a very well thought out interview, and I appreciate that. But I'm just asking what company you're working for.
I'm not. I'm just a private individual. I live in the local area, so you're my.
What's your channel called?
My channel is called Men's Rights Australia.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Excellent. Where
I'm
were we?
going to end this interview here. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks very much for your time, Liz.
Could I please have a copy of that, and could you please not post that to your post? You know, I think it's very disingenuous for you to film me without telling me where you're from.
I introduced myself. You were perfectly at liberty to ask me who I was or where I was from. I thank you very much for your time this morning. Thank you for answering my questions. This is a public area. I'm entitled to come up and ask you questions and record that.
And I'm happy to have a talk to you, but I do think that you have misled me.
No, I haven't at all. No, I just asked you some straightforward questions which you were happy to answer, and I'll be publishing those. Thank you, Liz. For the benefit of the cycloptic amongst us, crash test dummies do not have a male appendage, so they do not replicate a male or female anatomy. But why let the facts get in the way of an opportunity to claim victim status and blame the issue on the misogynistic patriarchy? Welcome to the patriarchy, where you can make things up as long as it's about blaming men. Welcome to the patriarchy, a cycloptic society which sees patriarchy everywhere, no matter how ridiculous the claim. Welcome to the patriarchy, where anything and everything you do not like about our society or your circumstance is explicitly the fault of men. Welcome to the patriarchy, where there is nothing to be lost and everything to be gained by the character assassination of men in a culture of ridicule and blame. Welcome to the patriarchy, where gender quotas and affirmative action are embraced as long as it's not for the benefit of men. Welcome to the patriarchy, where the adverse consequences of decisions others take are obviously the fault and responsibility of men. Welcome to the patriarchy, where men's ultimate sacrifice for the safety of women is historically encouraged on behalf of a gender who could not care less. Welcome to the patriarchy. No matter the extent of injustice, life is fair to men is always prejudicially assumed. Welcome to the patriarchy, where men are expected to fix everything to the satisfaction of everyone else and to the detriment of ourselves. Welcome to the patriarchy, where I am responsible for the sins of others by association to my gender, because I too am a man and therefore a toxic male. Welcome to the patriarchy, where discrimination against men is denied. Welcome to the patriarchy, where justice for men is refused. Welcome to the patriarchy, a society which is led on the issue of gender equality by feminist sexist hypocrites who could not care less about what is fair and equal to men. Welcome to the patriarchy, a society which has pursued equality for women for more than 100 years. Welcome to the patriarchy, for a century a society where equality for men is refused. Welcome to the patriarchy, where men are denied the right to represent equality on behalf of ourselves. Welcome to the patriarchy, where the most fundamental human rights for men are denied. Welcome to the patriarchy, where men's love for our families is used as a weapon against us in a feminist political battleground. Welcome to the patriarchy, where men's role is to appease women to stop them wrecking our families and our lives. Welcome to the patriarchy, a society which is prejudicially blind to discrimination against men, where the intent of feminists is to pursue self-interest for women and promote malicious contempt, discrimination, injustice, persecution, and the subservience of men by women in a society which for a century has refused to apply the same concept and principles of gender equality to men.